Hello friends, here we will discuss the next chapter of Advanced Bank Management, Development of HR. Okay, so let's see the introduction part first. See, introduction. Human Resource Management (HRM) is a crucial function in the organization. Organizational perspective towards managing people has now matured to the great extent. Researchers and practicing managers have tried to evolve the strategies to understand human resource issue and establish a link between and individual satisfaction and organization's growth. These systems have evolved over a long period of time. See friends, introduction part, we have discussed the HRM, that is a human resource management. We know that HRM has a crucial role in the organization, right? Whatever the main capital in the organization is the human, right? So that's why we can say the human resource have the crucial function, crucial role in the organization. And we know, we have discussed in the previous chapter also, that how the HRM has been developed, right? So here they are saying how the organizational perspective towards the managing the people is matured to a great extent. Okay, so we have to discuss that in detail in this chapter. Okay, so see here how that HRM, how basically the HR is developed, how HR is developed, that we are going to discuss. That whole process and what are the strategies they have adapted, what are the new things they have adapted, right? That we are going to discuss. So very first, HRD and its subsystems. So friends, we have discussed in the previous chapter very one important point we have discussed. What we have discussed, that HRD is a subsystem of HRM, that we have already discussed. Okay, so that one important bit you have to remember, it is very important, that HRD is a subsystem of HRM. Okay, so see here, the human resource management HRM has three broad interlinked subsystems, namely administration, development and the maintenance. Okay, so see here in the graph you will have better understanding. See basically how HRM is having three interlinked subsystems. First is the administrative, second is the developmental, and third is the maintenance. And in that developmental subsystem we will have a subsystem of HRD. HRD means human resource development, so definitely it will be under the category of developmental. Okay, and under the HRD what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss the training and development, attitude development, career path planning and self development. That 4 bits, 4 points we have to discuss in detail in this chapter. Okay, so basically what they have to convey, they are saying HRM is broadly having interlinked 3 subsystems. First is the administrative, second is the developmental, and third is the maintenance. And in that developmental we are having the HRD, and in that we are discussing the training and development, attitude development, career path planning and self development. Okay, these 4 we are going to discuss in detail. First, now see here again, HRD and its subsystems. See, we know there are 3 interlinked subsystems: administration, development and maintenance. We have discussed it through the graphs. Now HRD, which is a developmental subsystem, focuses on the employees in the organization in a planned way to develop their capability, fulfill their role better and develop their potential fully. So what is the function of HRD? We all know HRD generally includes the training also, right? So definitely through HRD we will have to develop the employees' capacity, their fulfill their roles, as well as develop the potential of employees, which we generally do in the HRD. The subsystems that are fall under the purview of HRD are training and development, attitude development, career path planning and self development. As I have already told you in the graph, in the image form you can easily understand. Under the HRD, what we are going to do? Training and development, attitude development, career path planning, and self development we are going to discuss in detail. Okay, now again see here. These subsystems are comprised of following activity. So basically, which subsystem? See, the training, attitude development, career path planning, and self development. These are comprised of what? First, understanding skills needed for the job and recruiting the right people. Okay, these four subsystems consist of, first, what? That you should understand the right skill set needed for the job and recruit the right people. Okay, you just read it, I will explain it later on, right? You just read it. Second, what we need understanding the potential of an employee, analyze the training needs, what are the needs that your employee need to train, helping employees to develop the required skill set, facilitating learning and development in the organization, determining the performance benchmark and communicating the same to the employees, monitoring employees performance and providing the feedback. Okay, so whatever that 4 to 5 points we have discussed, we have gone through, these are nothing but the compromise of that 4. Okay, training development, attitude development, career path planning, self development. Through that 4 points we are going to achieve that 4 points. Okay, you just read that. When we will discuss in detail, that time you will get a better understanding. Okay, here just take a broader overview, and also after that theory chapter, when you attempt the MCQ section or MCQ videos, that time you will have more clarity that how the question can be framed. Okay, some case study are also generally asked from this chapter. We will also discuss that. So friends, we will discuss the Indian scenario that we have discussed in the broader manner, but here we will discuss if that the same scenario for what about the Indian banking specialized. Okay, specialized for the Indian banking. First, see, when computerized option for the most jobs, Indian banks are seeking a lot of dehumanizing. We all know when the supercomputer has been launched, and when there is an era after 1985, the computer started importing to the India, and also manufacturing started in India, and at that time all the laborers were having worried about that their employer they have to lose the job basically. Okay, so Indian banks are seeking a lot of dehumanizing, lot of work has been done by the computers, so banks also think that we have to reduce the staff. This has caused a dip in the motivation level of other employee, and in turn affect the bank's performance also. Okay, what happened then? The motivation level of bank employees goes down, and that affected the bank's performance also, right? To add this, we can say Indian banks face other challenge. What? Economic liberalization has led to many foreign banks entering the banking scenario or Indian banking sector. We know in 1991 when LPG reforms were adopted, at that time the banking sector new license to the new private sector banks has been given by the RBI, right, under the policy of LPG. That's why these also indirectly increased the bank's focus on the developmental aspect of the workforce, and that's why there is a competition between the public sector banks and the new generation private sector banks. We know how the private sector banks are functioning, so indirectly there is an increased bank's focus on the development aspects of the workforce. So PSB or Indian banking sector think that we should focus on the developing our workforce. Okay, so this is the basic scene behind the Indian banking and how their HR function. Okay, now we know we have discussed what are the challenges before the Indian banks, right? Now to meet the demand, that means to focus more on development of HR in the public sector, we can generally say the Indian banking, we can say the public sector banks. To meet the challenges, to meet these demands, Indian banks adopted the best practices and developmental system. Okay, what best practices has been adopted by the Indian banks? So see, first the practices adopted, just we have to read: setting up back offices and data centers, setting up a fully automated systems like a core banking, like a CBS has been introduced, right? The business process re-engineering, BPR, offering a VRS to the employee, that is a voluntary retirement scheme, lateral recruitment of a specialist, emphasis on the marketing, advertising and customer relationship, business process outsourcing, that is mainly outsourcing, developing the electronic based multiple delivery, for example say ATM machines, right? So in this way, to meet the best, to have the best, to develop the HR practices, and to face the challenges, to meet the demands, Indian banks adopted the best practices. We have gone through the best practices which Indian banks have been adopted. It is just in general you have to read it. Okay, and next is the developmental system. Next is the developmental system. What the developmental system the Indian banks adopted? See, trading and development to the bank employees, performance appraisal, feedback and counseling has been started in the banks, potential appraisal, career planning, counseling or mentoring, organizational development, support to like a human resource information system. That means basically the HRMS we are having, that is human resource management system, or we can say human resource information system. Okay, different banks have different their HRMS system, right? Human resource information system, they generally called HRIS, where you can generally apply your leaves and all, right? So that has been also started. Okay, these are the developmental work done by the Indian banks. Okay, so basically we have discussed what is the scene of Indian bank, scenario for the Indian banks. We have discussed in the brief what are the practices has been adopted by the Indian banks, and developmental systems. Okay, now we will discuss in a short the job or the role analysis. So what is a job analysis? What is a role analysis? So see, the job or the role analysis is the process that helps the employee to understand what is need to be adequately perform a job or a task. Job analysis means basically what to do. Job analysis means what to do. If the employee come to know what to do, that is nothing but your job analysis. Means what job you have to do. If the employee is able to understand, that is we can call it as a job analysis. And a job analysis includes what it include. It include the job description, it include job specification, it include job evaluation. Okay, so first, what is a job description? It is very easy. The job that individual has to perform, that is described, that is a job description simply. That means if you are a cashier, your job description will be you have to count the note, make entry to the customer's account, you have to count the note and make a payment. That is basically your job description. You have to identify the fake notes. Okay, so this is your job description. If you are an officer, you have to focus on your the development of the bank, right? If you are an officer category, you have to focus on the business, you have to focus on the CASA, etc. Okay, this is basically a job description. That means job description means, see, we are discussing the job analysis. In that it includes the job description, job specification and a job evaluation. So what is job description? The job description involve recording of all the components of the job that the individual has to perform. Okay, that means basically what you have to do, that it is included in the job description. Okay, next, job specification. What is the job specification? Job specification include the educational qualification, age, work experience, specific knowledge, skills, expertise or temperament required to perform the job. What the thing you are required to perform the job, the things you require to perform the job. For example, if you are joining as a PO, the thing required, you should have the some basic knowledge of the banking, you should have the basic knowledge of a computer, and you should have graduation in any discipline. Okay, these are the job requirement for the PO post. right? So that requirement, the job requirement is nothing but your job specification. Okay, what is a job specification? It is the temperament required to perform the job, or we can say it is the skill set required to perform the job. It is nothing but the job specification, and this reflect the individual's competency for a particular job, whether that individual employee is able to perform that job or not. It is nothing but your job specification. Okay, and next is the job evaluation. The job evaluation is the process of comparing the jobs within the organization or between the organization. So what is the job evaluation? Job evaluation means you have to compare the jobs within or between the organization or within the industry. By how? By doing this, the complexity, similarity and the skills needed for each job are brought to the light. That means you come to know after comparing, for example, a cashier in a government public sector bank, what it do, and the cashier in the new generation private sector bank, what duty has been done by that cashier and what duty has been done by the public sector bank cashier, that you have to compare. Okay, so that is basically a job evaluation. Okay, another example, a manager of a public sector bank and a manager of a new generation private sector bank. Okay, new generation public sector, whereas a new generation private sector, a manager has a what responsibility and manager has a what responsibility, what are their targets, basically what are the targets, you can compare that. That is nothing but the job evaluation. Okay, so we come to know what is a job analysis. Job analysis, it is the process that help employee to understand what is need to perform. There is a job or the role analysis. It include the job description, that is a job has to perform. There is a description that how job is to be performed. Job specification means basically skill set required, and a job evaluation means you have to evolve, you have to analyze that how that job is being done by comparing with within industry or outside the industry or within the organization or between the organization. Okay, that we have discussed. Now what we have to discuss is the training and development. So basically there is nothing to discuss in the training and development. Okay, you have to just read whatever the data that they have given here. Okay, you just read that data. Okay, I will just read, you just focus on what I am reading. Okay, see, training and development are the process that provide an employee with skills. Okay, they also impart information and give the employees a better understanding of organization goals. Training programs are designed to help an employee make a positive contribution through his her enhanced performance. Training helps employee do their current work better, while development prepares individual for the future. It also focuses on personal development. There are various support tools available for the HRM function to maintain the information at various stages during the training and development process. The IT system like Human Resource Information System HRIS have effective training system in a place. Employee appraisal can be handled more effectively using these systems. So basically what we come to know after reading these two para, we come to know that how training is important and how development is important. Okay, that basically we come to know. And if training and development is supported by the IT system, that means HRIS, we will have a more effective training. Okay, that we come to know. Now what we have to focus more on the next is the systematic approach to the training. In short, we call it as a SAT. There is a systematic approach to the training. We have to apply a systematic approach. Whatever the training that HR give to the newly recruited staff, that should be a systematic, right? So that concept is basically a systematic approach to training, and that generally called as the SAT. There is systematic approach to the training. Okay, training in any organization follow a systematic approach. Certain interrelated steps are followed for training of the employees. So basically there are 5 steps that should be followed by the organization while giving training to their newly recruited or the recruited staff. First, Step 1 is what is the need of a training. Step 2, you have to plan the training. Step 3, what method, by which method you are providing the training. Step 4, what is the evaluation of the training. And step 5, last, you have to select the trainers for the training. Okay, in short, I have written here the keyword so that you can easily remember. Okay, first, so we will discuss one by one. What is step 1? Step 1 is the identification of a training needs and training need analysis. Basically we call it as a training need analysis. There is a TNA. Okay, step 1, we have to identify the need. What is the need of the training we have to identify. Okay, so see here the explanation. The HR professional has to initiate a training process by systematically collecting data on training needs from the different sources. Okay, what is the need of that training you are going to provide to the employee? That data have to be collected by the HR from different sources. The gap between expected level of a knowledge, skill and attitude and the observed level identified and form the basis of the training plan. Okay, so basically very first step is that to identify what is the need of that training, and for that you can collect the data from different sources. Next, step 2. Step 2 is you have to prepare the training plan. That means HR have to prepare the training plan. So what is the training plan? How it is prepared? See, the training plan is based on the training need analysis. Okay, that is first step, based on the first step. Next, the planning stage involve a detailed the planning stage involve a detailed reconnaissance of which topics are to be covered, how many people will attend the training and other arrangement, and the contingency plan. Basically, see, what is the preparation of the training plan? Basically, the HR have to prepare the plan. HR have to prepare the plan, and in that plan, how the training should be done, is described. Okay, and basically it include, for example, it will include how many people is going to attend the training, right, and other arrangements that are described in the plan. Okay, simply in step 1 what we do, in step 1 we identify what is the need of the training, and in the step 2 we prepare the training plan simply. Next, in step 3 what we do, we decide the method and conduct the training. Okay, the type of methodology which need to be adopted for training purpose is decided and implemented. So by which method you are providing the training is decided and it is implemented. Employees performance is observed closely. Okay, that is you have to conduct the training. First step, remember, first step is what is the need of a training, second is what plan you are having for the training, and third, for which methodology you are conducting the training. Okay, third is the methodology, and fourth is the evaluation of a training. Means what? Evaluation means what? Assessment of the training. That means the steps involve assessing the impact of a training on a various aspect of the employees like performance, behavior. The data from the observation during the training are put in different model to check the improvement in the knowledge, skill and attitude of the individual. Okay, evaluation of training means generally after the training there is one test is conducted, and what you score in that test is nothing but your evaluation of the training, assessment of what you learn. Okay, so basically this is the fourth step, and last fifth step is selection and development of a trainer. The trainers themselves need to be selected and trained accordingly so that they can impart training at a large employee base. Okay, so this is the fifth step, which is very easy. Okay, so that are 5 steps we have discussed. There is a keyword I have provided. What is the need of a training? What is a training plan? Methodology to be explained in the training. Training evaluation of the training, and selection of the trainers. Okay, these are the 5 steps. Okay, now these are the 5 steps of the systematic approach for the training. Okay, now attitude development and significance at the workplace. So it is very important that what the attitude of your employee is having. Okay, so employee should have a positive attitude, right? So there is also very important task, that is a attitude development and significance at the workplace. So the basic components of a person's attitude are, first, basically there are three components of the attitude, right? First is the emotion. Any person which is having we can say a attitude have three components, right? The person's attitude may be a emotional, it may be a informational, it may be a behavioral. Okay, that three you have to remember. The components of attitude, they can ask which of the following is not a component of attitude. Okay, in this way they can frame a question. Okay, so what is the first component? Is the emotional, second is the informational, and third is the behavioral. Okay, so what is the emotional component? Dealing with the person's feeling, either positive or negative. That means what the person feel, you have to deal with the person's feeling, either positive or negative. That is basically your emotional component. Second is the informational component. That means dealing with the belief or information, the individual has about anything. Okay, dealing with the belief, what you believe, what the information of you are having, how the HR can deal with you based on the information or your belief. That is nothing but the informational component. And next is the behavioral component, dealing with the person's tendency to behave in a particular way. Simply it is a behavioral component. Okay, so basically just remember three components of the attitude. First, emotional, informational, and behavioral. Okay, that three word you have to remember. Okay, now changing attitudes, how attitude can be changed. A positive change in the attitude of an employee can bring about a positive impact on the organization. Okay, if you are think that you can do it, that means you will try to do it. And if you think that I cannot do it, that means you will not even try to do this. Okay, that's why we can say a positive attitude in the attitude of an employee can bring a positive impact in the organization simply. Okay, next we have to discuss the career path planning. Okay, career path planning. So basically, when suppose you are joining as a clerk, suppose you are joining in the clerk as a bank, you will think that after 3 year or 2 year I will become officer. Next year I will after the 2 years of in the officer cadre, I will have to handle as a branch manager. Then after next 3 years I will be a senior manager. Then I will be a chief manager. Then I will be a regional head. Then I will be a or a assistant general manager. Then I will become a general manager. In this way you can imagine your journey in the organization. Okay, so that is basically a career path planning. Okay, how you are planning your career, that we are going to discuss in detail. Okay, so see, very first, the employees expect an upward mobile path at a workplace. There is no progress, or if there is no progress, or if it does not happen when expected, the employee feel frustrated. Okay, for example, if you want a promotion, you are having desire to be promoted, you are having that capability, and if you are not promoted, then you will feel frustrated simply. Career path planning is directed towards the structuring the employee's aspiration for upward movement through the organization and moderating them if they are unrealistic. It is not commitment by the management to promote an employee. Okay, it is not the commitment by the management to promote an employee, but definitely the management will provide a path, a defined path or an opportunity to promote. Okay, so it is not a commitment by the management to promote a employee. Okay, so basically this is just an overview of a career path planning. Okay, next, what organizational steps to be taken for the career path planning? First, define career stages in relation to the organizational level. For example, if you are a clerk, then you have to become officer, If you are officer, then you can be a branch manager, then you can be a senior manager, then chief manager. These are the defined career stages. Okay, next, and who decide that? The HR only decide that. Okay, next, that is a organizational steps. Okay, next, identify the core job at each level. Define and spell out criteria for each successive level. You have to define the criteria. For example, clerk to officer, what is the criteria? Officer to branch manager, what is the criteria? Branch manager to the senior manager, what is the criteria? That we have to discuss, that we have to define, that is defined by the HR. Facilitate the placement in the next career role. Okay, you have to also facilitate the placement in the next career role. Okay, these are the basically organizational steps which are included in the career path planning. Okay, and next we have to discuss is the multiple career. How one employee can have a multiple careers. See, it is also explained here. What is a multiple career? See, the organization in modern items have specialized independent function for finance, personal, marketing, planning, quality and production. Okay, these are different departments basically in the organization. Thus, we can say there is a room for individual to switch from one vertical to another after gaining the relevant skill while within the organization itself. For example, if you are working in the finance department, if you are working in the bank in the finance department, and for example say in the operation department, but if you are having very good marketing skill, you have acquired a MBA, then you can shift to the marketing department, right? That means you can have a multiple career options in the same organization. Okay, next, for example, a person with a technical profile. For example, if you are working in a bank as a specialist officer in the IT, specialist officer scale 1 in the IT, and can aim to be a part of the finance management team, which is expert function in the organizations today. So you can shift by how? By acquiring the required skill set, Okay, so what is the career path planning? We will discuss again by some economists have given some different stages of a career path that we have to discuss. Okay, so see here, career path planning. Expectations of an employee concerning their career path can be linked to the different life stages given by the Erik Erikson. So it is very very important. You have to you can easily remember the name Erik Erikson. Okay, name it is very interesting, Erik Erikson. So what Erik Erikson has been given? He given that according to the life stages, how you grow, how you develop your personal life. According to that, there is some stages of the your career path also. Okay, individual expect career changes to occur at certain times in their life, and these changes are expected to follow a particular pattern. People experience frustration if they didn't go through these timely transaction. Okay, for example, if you want to promote, and if you are not getting that promotion, you will have a frustration. Okay, if you are not getting promotion timely, you will be having frustration simply. Okay, so these are the stages explained by the Erik Erikson. Okay, Erik Erikson spoke about the 8 stages. 4 that are experienced in the childhood, 4 that are experienced in the childhood, and 4 that are experienced in the adult. Okay, we are not have to worry about the childhood. Okay, we are only discussing here about the adult stages. That 4 adult stages we are going to discuss, which has why we are only discussing adult, because in the bank or in any organization only adult can work, so we have to focus only on the adults. Okay, that 4 stages we will discuss here, given by the Erik Erikson. So according to the Erik Erikson, the 4 adult stages are: first is the adolescence stage, second is the young adulthood, third is the adulthood, and fourth is the maturity. Simply how you can grow, in the same way Erik Erikson has named that. Okay, first is the adolescence stage, where a person look for his or her identity. It is the stage where you want to create your identity. That is stage has been named by Erik Erikson as the adolescence stage. Second is the young adulthood, where relationships are formed. And third is the adulthood, where person guide the next generation. You become adult, you have to guide the next generation. And maturity is where person examine and analysis his or her life. Okay, these are the 4 stages. A similar framework on the career role has been convinced by Dalton, Thompson and Price. Okay, Dalton, Thompson and Price. It lays emphasis on the sequence of roles and relation observed in a particular career. So okay, now we come to know the 4 stages by the Erik Erikson. Now we have to discuss the stages given by whom? By Dalton, Thompson and Price. By Dalton, Thompson and Price. They have also combinedly given the stages. What are the stages that we will discuss? There are very interesting and easy stages. See here. First stage, they have said that there is apprentice stage. What is apprentice stage in the career? Which is the beginning of the career? That is called as the apprentice stage. You are learner, right? So when you join the bank, in the very first stages, you are like apprentice. That is the beginning of your career. Second stage is called as the colleague, where a person make an independent contribution in a subordinate role. Okay. Next is the mentor, where person guide to other. Mentorship basically a guidance to other, right, and responsible for their work. Mentor means you have to guide to the other as well as you feel the responsible for your work. Next is the sponsor, means where person is now a key decision making role in the organization, where person is now in the key decision making role in the organization. So what are the 4 stages according to the Dalton, Thompson and Price? First is the apprentice, just the beginning of the career. Next is the colleague. Okay, you have to make the independent contribution in the organization. Next is the mentorship and sponsorship. Apprentice, colleague, mentorship, sponsorship. These are the 4 stages in the career planning given by the Dalton, Thompson and the Price. Okay, that you have to remember. Now we have to discuss different career pattern. How it is very interesting, friends. Career patterns are very, very interesting. You will definitely like the career patterns. So it is very, very interesting topic, career patterns. See how career can be shaped through a real life example. We will discuss this. Okay, career pattern. So what is the career pattern? Career pattern is the changes we expect in our career. For example, say I know maximum you are engineering graduate. After engineering graduate, you have joined as a PO in the bank. How your career is changed from technical to the banking industry, or we can say finance industry. How your career pattern is changed. Okay, that is basically simply a best example for career pattern. Okay, that we will discuss in detail. So what is a career pattern? The changes we expect in our career, it is the career pattern. Next, these patterns are listed in the framework called as the career concept. So what is a career concept? The career pattern listed in a framework called as the career concept. And who proposed the career concept? It is proposed by the driver. Okay. These framework consist of the following career pattern. So we will discuss directly the career pattern. Simply you have to remember what there are different career patterns. Okay, so you can see here different career patterns, and these are given by the driver. Okay, so first career pattern is it is very interesting, friends. First is the linear career concept. Second is the steady state career. Third is the transition pattern. Fourth is the spiral. Fifth is the plateau. Okay, these are the 5 career patterns, or we can say career concept. Okay, now first what is the linear career? What is the linear career? So individual who enter into the occupation and develop a plan for upward movement within the same profession using organizational hierarchy. That is nothing but a linear concept. For example, you joined as a clerk, you become an officer, you become a manager, you become senior manager, you become the chief manager, you become the assistant general manager, you become a general manager. In the same organization itself you are having the hierarchy. That is nothing but your linear career. You are having linear hierarchy. Okay, that is a linear career concept simply. Okay, now what is a steady state career? Steady state career, a person who chooses a career acquires a higher skill but does not choose to go higher up in the hierarchy. It is nothing but a steady state career. For example, if a person joined as a clerk and got a posting at his home place, then definitely that clerk will not take a promotion. Definitely he will acquire the skill or the skill set or the duties to be performed as an officer, but he will not want to be a officer. He want to remain as a clerk. Okay, so that is nothing but the steady state career concept. Okay, clerk want to become a clerk itself in the throughout the life, so we can say it is a steady state career concept. Okay, and next is the transition pattern concept. Transition pattern concept, an individual who shift from one job to other which is unrelated to the previous without acquiring any excellence in the performance is said to be follow a transition pattern. For example, if you are working in the IT, you directly switch to the banking industry, you join as a bank as a PO, you are having a transition from one industry to other industry. That is nothing but the transition pattern concept. Okay, very easy. And next, fourth is the spiral career concept. What is spiral career? An individual who takes a job, work hard, perform well, and moves to this move up to the status and rank, and finally shift to the other job. Spiral means, see how you can go to the top, you reach the top and you shift to the other job. Okay, that is basically a spiral career concept. You join the organization, you acquire skill, you work hard, you reach the top position, then you switch the job. That is the spiral career concept. For example, you joined as a clerk, you become an officer, you become a manager, senior manager, general manager, then you shift the bank, you change the bank. Okay, you shift the job. That is a spiral career concept. Okay, now what is a plateau career concept? What is a plateau career concept? In the plateau career concept, a person reaches a higher level than the one which he started with, but then continues on the same level, resulting in a plateau in his or her growth. A plateau career means a person reaches higher level than one which he has started, but then continued the same level, resulting. For example, if you joined as a clerk, you become officer, then you become in the officer cadre itself you retire. In the officer cadre itself you retire. That means only one promotion you have taken. That is called as the plateau career concept. Okay, see, you increase your level, you increase your hierarchy in the organization, then it becomes a plateau. First is level 1, we can say it is a level 2, and then you remain in the level 2 throughout the life. That is basically a plateau career concept. Okay, clerk, you become an officer and you remain as an officer throughout the life. That is a plateau career concept. Okay, now we have discussed the 5 stages. Okay, based on that they can ask a case study also. Okay, so if you know the basically what is a linear concept, what is a steady state, what is a transition, what is a spiral career, what is a plateau career, that career pattern, if you have basic knowledge about that career, then we can say you can easily attempt the MCQ based on the case study also. Okay, now the career patterns we have discussed. Next we have to discuss is the important that the other career concept. There is some other career concept given by whom? Given by the Chin. Okay, how can you pronounce? It is up to you. SCHEIN. We can call it the Chin's concept of a 3D movement. This Chin, SCHEIN, has a proposed, the name of a scientist Chin, has a proposed a concept with a 3D movement. And what are the 3D movement? First, it is a vertical along the hierarchical. Second is the circumferential according to the circumference, that is circumferential. And third is the radial, that is towards the center. Third is the radial, towards the center. These are the three we can call it 3D movement. So very first, the concept 3D movement. First is what? Vertical. Vertical means along a hierarchy. For example, clerk, officer, manager, senior manager. You are having the hierarchy. In this way you are moving, then you are having vertical career pattern. Okay. Next, circumferential means what? Along a different division and function. That means if you are officer, you work in a marketing department sometime, you work in the operation department sometime, you work in the legal department sometime, and at the age of retirement you become you work in the HR department. Okay, so you are working in different department in the same organization. We can say you are having a circumferential pattern of a career. Okay, next is the what? Radial means toward the center of the organization. Okay, if that is the radial pattern. Okay, we will discuss that in while discussing the case study again. Okay, here just take a brief overview. So see, here is the example. Mr. Khan was a distinguished employee of a KYC bank. Okay, he was relocated from branch A to branch B, where his role was changed from cashier to officer. Okay, and officer in what? In a loan proposal. He was found to be a very good at his work, and he has promoted to the designation of a branch manager, where he was a mentor to the subordinates. The organizational structure dictates when an employee can be moved to the different division or up in the hierarchy. If the individual perform well at their job and their organization has a method to provide a career path, it will ensure that there is a regular supply of a suitable employee at various levels. Okay, so it's okay. So just here you have to remember 3 names you have to remember. Okay, 3 concept given by the Chin, SCHEIN, Chin's 3D movement. First is the vertical, third is the circumferential, and second is the circumferential, and third is the toward the center, that is called as the radial. Okay, these are the 3 3D movement that you have to remember. Just remember the names. Okay, now we will discuss the anchor. What are the anchors? Career anchors. Okay, that we will discuss. See, a career anchor is a type of work that individual want to pursue, and the significance that work has in his career or life. For example, if you are having a cashier, and you are having desire to work as an officer or a manager, so that managership itself, it is a career anchor for you. Okay, what is a career anchor? The desired work profile that you want to be pursue, that is nothing but the career anchor. Okay, see, based on the self concept, Chin listed 3 factors to state why individuals follow a particular career pattern. So based on the self concept, the scientist Chin has listed 3 factors why individual want to pursue that a particular pattern. First, self perception of a talent and ability based on one's performance. That means, see, what career you want to choose, which career anchor you want to be, how you can decide. First, you will have some self perception that you can do. If you are a clerk, you want to become an officer, what you can think? That I can pass that voucher very fastly, I can do the day end without any interruption. That you are having self perception, that's why you want to become officer from the clerk. Okay, so that is a self perception you are having. Second thing about the self perceived motives and need based on self diagnosis and the feedback. Okay, self perceived motives and needs based, that means what are the needs? If you are having clerk, if you are having 30,000 salary, if you become officer, you will have around 55,000 salary, say, right? That means you are having some financial needs so that you can take a promotion from clerk to officer. Okay, self perceived motive and needs based on the self diagnosis and the feedback. Next, self perceived attitude. Third is the self perceived attitude and the value based on the interaction with the norms and the value implicit in the organization. So basically, what is that? The self perceived attitude, whatever the if you are in the, say again, the clerical cadre, if you are having some attitude to become an officer, and what are the value based on the interaction with the norms, what to be norms, to be norms, or what norms are required to become an officer. You know, you are having interaction with that norms. That means you are observing the day-to-day work done by the officer, and the value implicit in the organization, and what are the responsibility that officer feel in the organization. If you realize that in the clerical cadre, then you will think that you will become an officer. You will have that anchorship. That means you are having that plan to become an officer. Okay, so basically, what is a career anchor? It is the type of work that individual want to pursue, that position that individual want to achieve. That is basically a career anchorship. Okay, and according to the Chin, that is SCHEIN, he has said that three factors. First is the self perception of talent and ability. Second is the self perceived motive and needs, and third is the self perceived attitude and value. Okay, so these are the three factors. Basically, these are the three factors, three patterns. Based on that, the Chin, the CHEIN Chin has listed the three factor based on that lead to the what, the career anchorship. Okay, that we have discussed. Now the again we have to discuss the common career anchors. What are the common career anchors? Okay, that means what are the common areas where you want to pursue the career. Simply, that is called as the common career anchor. Simply, you want to be work in the technical department, you can want to work in the managerial department, you can want to work in the environment where the job security is important, you want to work where creativity is important, or you want to work where autonomy is important. Okay, so these are the 5 areas, or based on that you can decide your anchorship, or you can decide your career, your planned future career. Okay, the career you want to pursue in your life, it is based on that basically 5 area. Okay, so that is called as the career anchors. So first, technical or functional competence, where individual develop a passion for the field and want to excel in that field. For example, if you are engineering graduate, you want to work in only the IT department because you have the previous knowledge. So you are having the passion about that IT sector and IT field, and you want to be excellent in that field. So we can say it is a technical or the functional competence that you are having. Next is the managerial competence, where individuals show an aptitude for the managerial aspect of the job. For example, if you joined as an officer, and if you have that capacity to canvass the business, to sell the third party product, to canvass the CASA, that is the role of a managerial, right? So we can say you are having the managerial competence. That's why you are assuming that you will become a manager. That is your career anchor, is to be a managerial post. Okay, definitely. Next is the security. Okay, where individual seeks a secure work environment. If you want a permanent job, and if you are having if you just want a job security throughout your life, then we can have the factor that is called as the security. That is a common career anchor. For example, say any government job you want, then you just want a job security. Okay, next the creativity. Next is the creativity, where individual want to express his or her creativity through the job. It is nothing but the area, common anchor area of creativity, where you are having different ideas in your mind, different creative idea. How can you how can you grow your institution or organization? That is basically a creativity in the anchorship. And fifth is the autonomy. If you want to work in the area where you want a freedom, instead of the different boundaries of the organization, you have we can say you are having the career anchorship as a autonomous. Okay, that means autonomy. Okay, where individual prefer a freedom as compared to the being bound by the organization. So for example, in IT sector there are different companies which is not having the in or out time. You can come at any time in the office, you can go just after completing your working hours, number of stipulated working hours. You can enter in the office at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock. There is no any limitations. In the some IT company they are providing, there is autonomy they are providing. Okay, so these are the basically common anchors, the common career anchors. Okay, so first is the technical or functional competence, managerial competence, job security, there is security competence, we can say security anchorship, creativity and autonomy. Okay, these are the 5 that you have to remember. Okay, now next we have to discuss is the concept of the self. Okay, that we will discuss in the next part. Okay, up to this almost it is a 1 hour lecture, so we will discuss the remaining part of this chapter in the next lecture. Okay, so what we have discussed in the first lecture, we will again take some brief overview so that you will just get a refreshment about the lecture. So in the beginning we have discussed some introduction part about the HRM. Okay, and in the next we have discussed how HRD and its subsystems, right? So we here you have to note that HRD is a subsystem of HRM. That one bit you have to remember. And there are some interlinked subsystems that we have discussed, that HRM is having subsystem of administrative, developmental and maintenance. And in the developmental we are having the HRD, that is human resource development. And in that HRD what we do, training and development, attitude development, career path planning and self development. That 4 we have to discuss in detail in this chapter. Okay, that we have to discuss. We have discussed what is the Indian scenario and what steps, what are the best practices has been adopted by the Indian banks, and what are the development systems that has been implemented. Okay, that we have just taken overview. Next the development systems we have also discussed. Next important bit we have discussed is the job analysis, means the process that helps employee to understand what is to be done. Okay, that is a job analysis. And job analysis include, we have discussed, it is a job description, job specification and the job evaluation. What is a job description? The job that individual has to perform, it is a description of that, that is a job description. Job specification, basically a skill set required to perform the job, that is a job specification. Job evaluation means assessing that job or comparing the job within or within the organization or between the organization or within the industry, that is job evaluation. Okay, that we have discussed. Next we have discussed the training and development. It is just you have to read, basically it is nothing to remember in that, you just take an overview about that 2 para I have provided here. Okay, training and development. Next you have to remember the SAD, that is a systematic approach to training, how training should be given to the employee. There are 5 steps of training. First is what is the need of a training, what is a plan of training, what methodology you are going to have in the training, what is the evaluation, that is assessment of the training, and you have to select the trainers according to the needs. Okay, that 5 steps are there. Okay, that we have already discussed. Okay, next we discussed the attitude development and its significance. Why attitude is very very important, that we have discussed. We know there are 3 components of attitude. First is the emotional, second is the informational and behavioral. So based on that component your attitude is developed in the organization, that we have discussed. And what is the importance of changing attitude, that we come to know. And next we have discussed the career path planning. Okay, so it is not commitment by the management to promote a employee, that we have discussed how career path planning is important. Okay, so based on that, what our organization should take a steps to have a defined career planning, we have discussed. Multiple careers means in the same organization, if you want to switch in different department, there is a multiple career options also provided by the organization. Next, in the career planning, we discussed the life stages given by the Erikson, and mainly 4 in the childhood and 4 in the adulthood. Okay, so total 8 stages are there. We have to discuss only the 4 adult stages, that is adolescence, young adulthood and maturity. That 4 we have discussed. Next, the career roles given by the Dalton, Thompson and Price we have discussed. That is apprentice, colleague, mentor and sponsor. Okay, that we have discussed. After that, we have discussed different career patterns. And what are that career patterns? Very first, we have discussed the vertical. It is a career patterns. We have discussed 5 total. First is the linear, steady state, transition, spiral, and plateau. That are 5 career patterns we have discussed. Okay. And apart from that, there are some other career patterns given by the Chin scientist, Schein. Generally we call that it is a concept of 3D movement. Okay, it is a vertical, circumferential, and the radical toward the center. There are 3 career patterns. Okay, and what is a career anchorship? That is the career that you want to pursue. That is basically a career anchorship. Okay, it is based on what? It is based on the self perception of talent and ability, self perceived motive and needs, and a self perceived attitude and the value. It is based on career anchorship based on that 3. Okay, that we have discussed. What are the common career anchor, or what are the common career that every individual want to pursue? That we have discussed. Technical, functional, managerial, security, creativity, or autonomy. That we have discussed 5. Okay, now the concept of self we will discuss in the next lecture. Okay, so friends, before going to the next lecture, one thing that which you have to do here is that you can subscribe our YouTube channel Banker Zone. You have to join the Telegram group which is available on the Telegram application. The name of a group is CAIIB Banker Zone. For that, you can directly search on the Telegram @CAIIBBZ. Also, you have to download the application from the Play Store, Banker Zone CAIIB. So friends, happy learning, all the best.